Okay guys, so the first appointment. So after the client has selected the package and they've been assigned to you as a coach, or they've been assigned to a particular slot in which you're going to coach them, because obviously your training schedules might be slightly different depending on which gym you're in. Then now comes the first appointment. So the first appointment is a chance for us to set the scene. This can be done either in a face-to-face consultation or over a Zoom meeting. So this first appointment is really crucial because what we're looking to do is we're looking to gather data, we're looking to educate, and then we're looking to be realistic. So the first thing to start with is naturally they'll have forms and agreements to complete. So personal training agreements and then PAR-Qs. These should have been already sent over via email by yourself or by obviously your gym manager in terms of docu-signing the personal training agreement. Once we've got that, we've gathered some data about the client, we've got some information about their health status. The next thing that we're going to need is we're going to need assessments and photos. So we always start with assessments and photos. So under normal conditions, we would run a body fat assessment and you'd have access to the body fat system. At this moment in time, under COVID restrictions, we're not able to do that. So we're going to take tape measurements of particular areas. Then we're going to ask the client if they're on their own to take photos front, back and sides. We want to be able to see everything. So they need to have their shorts or their trousers around the hips, just below the hips so that we can see their abdomen and their full back. And then similarly, we don't want them to breathe in or anything like that so that we can actually see their true starting position. If we're in the gym, we're going to take these photos and obviously we're going to store them in the client's individual photos and training folder. So now we've got the data that we need, we've got the photos that we need. We can actually start imparting our knowledge to actually improve their understanding of what's about to come. So the next thing that you're going to dive into is fat cell metabolism. So you're going to run through exactly how this works from a physiological point of view, so that they have an understanding that when we give them the diet plan, it's a simple case of, we'll do the heavy work, you've just got to follow this. This is also your opportunity to set a realistic goal. So if we know that a client wants to lose a lot of weight, or they want to change dress sizes, or they want to get lean, then we know what body fats should be expected in order to get that result. We know that typically speaking, an average client can lose 1 to 2% per month, and then we can estimate how far off that client is from where they are now to ultimately where they want to be. This then allows us to set realistic time frames. This is so important for your own coaching relationship with that client, and so that you have enough time to actually get the adaptations from the body and from the diet that are going to be required to get the result. So can we get amazing results in 12 weeks? Yes, we can. But remember, the shorter the time frames, the more aggressive the diet, the more advanced the systems need to be. If this is a beginner client coming in to CMP gyms to work with us for the first time, that's not realistic. And also similarly, if this is somebody who's coming in with a long diet history, and they might even have been dieting before they've come to see us, we may well need to even build calories up before we can bring them down. So we need to be open and honest about where the client is starting from, what realistic time frames we would expect to achieve results, and then it's always going to come down to whether or not that's feasible for the client. You will be working with some clients who can only afford to be here for 12 weeks. That is fine. We're going to do the best we possibly can. We're going to tell them what we'd expect and what we'd require, and then we're going to work to the best possible situation, which is going to be, we need to maximize results in a short amount of time, try and educate that client as much as possible whilst imparting information on what to do after they've also left us. But generally speaking, let's say we have a client who wants to lose 30 pounds. Let's say they want to lose 3 dress sizes. Let's say we estimate on their photos that they're roughly 40% body fat, and we know that for them to achieve this result, they need to get down to, let's say, 25% body fat. That then means they've got 15% fat to lose. If we were a top line in body fat loss at 2% per month, that would take them 7.5 months to achieve. Now, naturally, if you tell the client it's going to take them 7.5 months to get into shape, they're not going to do it. It's too long. They're going to balk at the commitment, and it's going to be a situation where they're now in a position where they don't think they can do it. So they have informed pessimism around the service. So instead, what we would do is we would say, right, what we're going to do is we'll set up an initial diet phase for 20 weeks, starting your calories higher, bringing them down lower, starting your training volume lower, bringing it up higher, progressing it over time, so that by the end of week 20, we will have lost 10% body fat, say. Now, oftentimes, what we find is that when we do this, and we're realistic with somebody, and we just say, look, hey, this is where you're starting from, we're going to need this time, I can try my best in 12 weeks, if that person said they can only be here for 12 weeks, but I'd rather set up a 20-week diet to give you the best chance possible of sustaining these results for life, then oftentimes you're going to get people that will accept that and they will get to work. The beauty about this situation is when you're afforded more time, actually you see faster results. And the reason for that is because whilst we might set the diet, we might set the training program, we actually don't know how their body's going to respond yet. But when we are in a situation where we've got more time and more control over where we're taking the transformation, I actually see results in just as quick a time if we'd have said to them we can do it in 12 weeks. We won't say that we'll do it in 12 weeks simply because we don't want to set them up to fail. Remembering their starting position, remembering the considerations, remembering the time that we need. So if we manage to actually deliver that result well before the 20-week mark, this client is absolutely ecstatic. And also this client is now in a position where they're going to build a long-term relationship with you. They're going to understand and they're going to follow everything that you're asking them to do because they're seeing results from it. But we want to be realistic in this first appointment, even if we are confident and comfortable that we would deliver a faster result. And that is because ultimately, generally speaking, we need the time. We don't know how it's going to pan out with the client yet, even if we understand what we need to do with the diet and the training systems. So once we've taken the photos, once we've set the schedule, once we've gone through fat cell metabolism, the thing that you're going to do after this now is write your client training overview, which is what you're going to have prepared for that client's first ever training session. This client overview is basically you detailing where they're starting from, what their goals are, what limitations they might have. So for example, if it's that same client who wants to lose 30 pounds, but she struggles with emotional eating, she's got her own business that she's running, which means she's time poor, she's looking after the kids and home cooks most meals, so she's stressed, she's got a lot on her plate, then these are some considerations that we're going to write. We're going to actually identify some of the things that could be perceived challenges to the transformation so that we understand that this is a part of the process. So what we will do is we will highlight the limitations and challenges, and then we will also, in the following paragraph, say this will be a consideration throughout the 20-week diet phase, throughout the 20-week training phase. This again means that we're being realistic. We're not setting up a diet that this person under their conditions, under their situation is now gonna fail. We're gonna give it time, we're gonna give the client time, and we're gonna accept that there are certain things that we as trainers potentially can't control, but will influence our ability to get results. Once we've done the little overview introduction, we're now going to write the actual plan, not in full detail as to what we're going to deliver on the session, but what the actual training phases will look like. So in brief, a periodization template. So you will see as you're moving from phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are the training systems that we're going to pick. This is the stimulus that we're going to use. These are the adaptations that we're trying to achieve. All of these programs follow on so that in the next section, so that this nutritional plan, which is phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as we're bringing those calories down, so that these training phases and fat loss phases in terms of nutrition are completely matched to get the result. If we follow the system as we've pre-wrote based on where you're starting from, then we've got a better chance of achieving the results, and we now expect to see that result in that 20-week period. Again, what you're highlighting to your client here by doing this is you're highlighting that you're the expert in the relationship, you're the leader in the relationship, you know how you're going to get them from A to B. From a confidence point of view, this is absolutely massive. A lot of the clients that you're going to be working with at CMP Gyms have actually had personal trainers in the past. They've experienced lots of different services, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. The one thing that they've never had is structure and guidance in the way that we're going to provide it. So that's the purpose of the client training overview and the purpose of explaining it in this way. Remembering that we'll have already covered metabolic adaptation and reverse dieting within the fat cell metabolism section that you'll go through with the client. So they can be safe in the knowledge and safe in the information from your pack that alongside the nutritional plan that we will also say when the reverse diet starts so that we can rebuild calories back up. This is another important tool for getting clients to commit. If they feel like they have to stick to a diet seemingly forever, they won't do it. They will start off with enthusiasm, motivation, and even when they get results, and you've been there too yourself, if you're a trainer who's done a photo shoot transformation, you know how hard you have to push, you know how hard you have to diet, you know that you're going to be hungry, tired, you're going to lack motivation at stages. This is the same thing for your clients. It may be at a minor level to you, but a major level to them, especially if they've never stuck to a diet before. So they have to know when things are going to end so that they know they don't have to cheat in the interim time, so that they can commit to the diet fully, get the best results, and know that we can include more calories as we rebuild, obviously up through the reverse diet. And at all stages throughout, there's always going to be an opportunity for them to utilize some of those calories for some treat food. Now, when we say treats, we're not saying that essentially really it's a bad thing. What we do know is that if they're only apportioning, let's say 10% of their total calories towards something that they enjoy, which isn't particularly healthy, although that again is a misnomer because there's not necessarily good and bad foods, what we will find is that they will stick to the diet again, by and large, rather than if we put them on the most restrictive diets and you can't have any of your treats, they would also fail that diet because it's too difficult to follow. So we're not going to do that. We're going to allow a little bit of leeway within the portion sizes that they've got, within the calories that they've got. And in my experience and in the results that you've seen, this won't be an issue in order to get the overall transformation as long as we control the overall process.